every
5 minutes, right? Like,
how many geniuses, this goes for musicians, this goes for, let's just say geniuses in any field. How many times have they said they're channeling it from somewhere else? It's not
yeah,
that it's almost coming through them.
yeah.
It's from
You get in,
something
you
else
get into
through
flow
them.
state. You get into flow
Flow
state,
state.
and
Yeah,
that opens the
exactly.
gate. It opens the heart
Einstein
gate.
literally came up with the theory of relativity by doing thought experiments. He had
Mhm.
no lab,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Like,
Yeah,
like it's fucking crazy
yeah,
that a man was able to put himself in. A man was able to envision himself at the near the speed of light, right? Just traveling through the universe. What does that sound like to you?
that sounds like astral projection.
Right. That's exactly what
non
it sounds like.
non-local, non-local, non-physical experience. Yeah, that's and yeah, like Einstein, I've seen some
Tesla
good
said it
quotes
too.
from him about, like, he was into all this stuff. Like, he was a believer in the non-physical, and he basically helped invent the current understanding of quantum physics, right? Like,
Right.
he was deeply involved in that, and yeah, no question there.
Well,
I mean,
let's
just
talk.
back to that story though.
Oh my
I-
God, we didn't even finish that. I'm so
no,
sorry.
no, there was more. So we channeled this
There's
song out.
more.
We went to play it back. It's like, oh, that was a good take, that one shot that I did. Let's give it a listen. And as soon as I said that, all the lights went out, and we were out of power. The storm had moved over. It was over top of us now. So it was like, okay, well, we got battery backup. Let's save this thing and shut it down, and call it a day. So we did. I stuck around for a few more minutes after the other guys had kind of gone up to the bunkies to sleep, which is about kind of, 300 meters away maybe from the main cabin. And after I got everything shut down, I went outside, and it was absolute pitch blackness, like Northern Ontario darkness, like not a star, nothing. You couldn't see your hand in front of you. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I got to find my way to the bunkie in the dark, because I didn't have a flashlight or anything. I didn't even have a cell phone back when this happened, because it was so long ago. But so I just started kind of wandering, and I saw these little blue lights, and I was like, oh, they put some trail lights in. Okay, well, that's handy. So I followed the blue lights and made my way to the bunkie. And my buddy Colin was there, and I said, hey man, when did you put those lights in? And he said, we don't have any lights. So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. Oh
He's
well,
like, what lights are you talking about,
didn't
dude? What are
think
you
much of it.
smoking?
So I just went to bed, right? And the storm had kind of subsided, but there's just all the clouds. And maybe an hour or two later, we wake up to this like machine level rain on the steel roof of the bunkie. And I sit bolt upright. The song from earlier in that day is playing in my head. I hear it clearly, and I say, "Hey, Colin, do you hear the song in your head right now?" And he's like, "Yep." So that was kind of
Wait,
weird. So we're
what?
like, and I was just like, we got to go outside. I just felt really compelled to go outside. So we did, and we looked out into the darkness of the woods, and the rain was coming down, the thunder was crashing, and I'm seeing all these little blue lights again, like in the forest, just kind of blinking in and out of existence, little orbs. And so we're listening to this song in our head, and we're hearing this thunder and seeing the lightning, and we realize that the lightning is crashing in the same like tempo as the song. And it was a weird song. It was like 7/11 or 8/11 time. It was weird kind of prog rock song. So we're tapping away, and like whenever the one comes around, boom, lightning for like 45 minutes. It was crazy. And we weren't on drugs. Like we smoke weed and stuff, but like that day we were working, so we weren't doing anything like that. So yeah, just
Too
wild,
bad
wild night.
back then you didn't have a camera.
Yeah, yeah. It would
Although
have
we
been
wouldn't
cool
be
to
able to hear
capture.
the music,
Yeah,
you
true,
could
true.
overlay it and be like, dude, it's doing it to the
Yeah,
same tempo.
yeah. So
And
that was my first experience with orbs, and I think it really was in part that we had like kind of made this offering to the spirit of the place, and at the time it really felt like it was like a nature spirit kind of experience, like not any kind of alien UFO stuff. And I've since tried, and this is now maybe 2 years ago, I've attempted CE5 and stuff like that, and I've gotten orbs. I had an orb show up in my room at 3 a.m. and
In
I
your
tried.
room?
Yeah, it was trippy. It was a little orange one. I woke up bolt upright 3 a.m. and it's like just hovering, and it kind of went by my head and out the window and sort of disappeared as I was watching it, and I was just like, whoa.
And it was an orb. It wasn't like
Orange.
a dispersion blur.
No, it was like this orange orb, and it sort of faded out as it went past my head and out the window.
Huh.
And so it came back, I think maybe the next night or 2 nights later. And again, like this was a time I wasn't doing a ton of music, but I was doing tons of remote viewing, lots of Monroe meditations, like gateway stuff. So I was getting myself into those deep theta and delta states on the regular. And I think that's where you got to be. You got to be in that kind of liminal state to see some of this stuff. And I do think it is a largely consciousness-based phenomena, at least almost. I mean, I think everything is consciousness. Personally, that's sort of where my journey has led me. I forget what the name for that belief system is. It's like, it's got there's a term for it, but it's escaping me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Labels are stupid.
Yeah. I know what you mean, though. I know what it is.
Yeah. It's it'll come back to me
because I
eventually.
believe in something similar.
Yeah. It's the unity consciousness thing, right? So
yeah, I mean, and look at what we just, you know what I mean? Look at our universe. Look at our, like, with the, like, some of the pictures that the web's getting.
Yeah.
Like, and then you look at the universe on a macro scale, and then you look at the universe on a micro scale, and you know what? They look fucking the same.
There's correlation. Yeah.
They look the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, is everything like, and we just proved that trees, plants, they talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that happen? How does that happen in a world? Well, you know how it happens? Everything is entangled. That's how it happens.
Yeah, and it's because I think because, you know, it's entangled because it is just one thing fundamentally. It's
having
all,
different
all
experiences.
the same consciousness. Yeah, it's one consciousness having an infinite number of experiences. So, like, you know, this pen has consciousness. Like I've gone and meditated on rocks and been like, okay, like what's this rock feel like? What's it feel like to be a rock?
Yeah.
And then suddenly I just feel this like emotional, energetic thing where like everything slows down, and it's a really unique kind of experience. But and so, I mean, I project into animals and stuff. Like I saw a bat one time when I was walking on the trail, and I was like, oh, what would it be like to be that bat? And I started to, you know, that's the other thing. If you're going on walks regularly, that's a great psychic exercise, because the locomotion and the exercise are gonna put you into at least an alpha, if not theta, as you're going, and you're gonna be receptive to stuff. But walking meditations are great. Highly recommend.
So walking meditation being that, because for me, it's very hard to quiet my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was walking, how would I meditate at the same time?
Well,
that makes sense.
I tend to think that the traditional advice of meditation, to quiet your brain and shut things out, I think that's bullshit, personally.
Oh, please tell more.
Yeah, we'll get controversial here, but what remote viewing is like an active meditation. Like it's the whole process relies on working with your thoughts and impressions, and the tricky bit is separating the noise and the signal. So with remote viewing specifically, you're going after a target, right? Like you're going after specific information about a specific thing that's correlated to your target reference number or whatever at the start of your remote viewing process. And with a walking meditation, you can kind of do that same sort of active meditation. Like you're as you're walking, you let the thoughts flow through. It's not such a matter of you want to stop them. It's you want to acknowledge them and let them move on, which I think the more seasoned meditators would kind of tell you. But in remote viewing, what you're doing is actually writing down all those impressions, but you're trying to
Right.
categorize them. So say you get an image. We'll use the flower again as an example. I get this feeling of like actually the thing that came up first for me in that session was a place called Flower Pot Island. That was the very first impression I had on that session. And Flower Pot Island is an island in the county where this orchid was found. And has to do with flowers. So this is it. Like your subconscious will throw you these thoughts, but your goal as a remote viewer is to decode what the subconscious is giving you, and there's different ways to do that. So like in stage one of remote viewing, you're drawing a little ideogram. It's almost like an automatic drawing that do to really just to connect to the target. It's like your dial up to the cosmic internet. I sometimes explain it as, and so after that ideogram, you kind of just probe the ideogram, and you kind of sit and you wait and you observe your own thoughts and you see what comes up, and so generally those first few things that come up, that bubble up from your subconscious, are going to have some usually strong correlation to what your actual target is, especially if you've been
So
doing
your
it.
initial thoughts are important.
It's important to grab that initial thought, and if it comes through as something you can name, you're supposed to write that off to the side, because often it's not going to be right on. So example, Flower Pot Island, that's not
Right.
what the target was, but
But
it had a lot of elements of the target contained within that idea. So what you're then supposed to do after the ideogram is to go to your senses. It's like, what do I see? What colors do I see? That's usually what I start with, because I'm kind of a visual guy, and then I'll go to audio. Like, what do I hear? And you jot down those sounds and colors and smells, tastes,
I was gonna say,
emotions are a big one too.
I was gonna say, would it be uncommon for you to have smelled flowers?
I did not actually cue myself on that target to do the smell step. So
But
if you're doing full
would it be
structure, I should have.
uncommon?
I probably should have. It wouldn't be uncommon if you're following proper structure, like the way it was designed by SRI. You're supposed to go through all the senses, and
Okay.
this was just a funsy session, so I was
Yeah, I
like,
know. Yeah,
I
I
was
totally make
freestyling a bit, jamming,
Yeah,
and
you're
I
tuning yourself.
didn't bother with smell. I probably should have, because I probably would have gotten flower smells or something.
Right.
I did get like the sense of like wet earth, and these grow in a
Swamp.
swamp,
Like
so
you said,
maybe it's a good thing I
swampland.
didn't do smells. But I would have got swamp smells instead of flowers. But
Right.
it's yeah, so it's you go through your sensory stuff, and then you kind of draw. Stage 3 is drawing kind of the key elements that you've kind of pulled out. So as you're doing these sensory stuff, so like maybe I would get I got agriculture. I got this feeling of like agricultural plant life, something. So I just wrote that down as a thing.
Okay.
And then on other sessions, you would kind of go, once you do your stage 3, then you kind of figure out, okay, this has 3 different core elements to it. One of them is plant life. One of them is like a location that feels like maybe a forest, and then the other element is that there's life. And the life ended up just being, often it's kind of funny when I'm doing a target that's a photograph, I'll get a sense of like a person, but the person doesn't actually show up in the feedback. So typically I attribute that to the photographer, because if I'm doing a target that's a photo, what I believe you're doing, and there's debate about this and really no way to prove it, at least not yet. A lot of people think that you are actually going out of the body to the target and picking up that information. The other way of looking at that is you're going within yourself, and because within you the universe is folded, you're projecting inwards to that element of yourself that is the target, because everything is everything else, unity consciousness, all that stuff. Sorry, I lost my train of thought a little bit there.
Sorry.
We were
Everything is
talking
unique.